back to another episode of ITUTV. As you guys know, we get into all things trading, whether it's the technicals going into mindset. And I'm joined by somebody very, very special today, guys. I haven't seen him in quite some time, but I'm glad to have him in today. That's Mr. Daniel Schuler, my brother. What's going on?
Uh,
Hey, man,
it
another
has
one
it has been
today.
a hot minute.
It has. It has been a
Yeah,
little while.
still
But
got
glad to see you, man.
the good to see you too, brother. Thanks for having me.
Of course, of course. How life's been good? Everything's been well this year?
Yeah, man, it's been good. God is good. Just continuing to grow in a lot of different areas, and I feel like I don't know about you, but I have a lot of friends and like family and myself included, and there's just been some unforeseen circumstances that have happened, and it could have either like set you back quite a bit, or you take ownership of it and kind of have it help you move forward. Because I remember like every other phone call with some of my friends, there was something going on, whether it
Oh
was like
yeah.
relationally or financially. Like there was just all is like a year of shifting and transitions and kind of people moving things around. And so it's been cool to kind of go through that myself. Obviously, there's pain in some of it, but to kind of see how my friends and community have pivoted around some of the things that they've gone through. So, yeah, man, for sure.
Oh yeah, I get it, man. A lot of changes are happening. A lot of big decisions people got to make.
Yep.
Us as well. It's been quite a year. 2024 was crazy, but as we get to 2025, I mean, you kind of got to, lock in. Like you
Yeah.
really got to know what's going on and be aware of what to do next, right?
Yeah.
Over the next at least five, where it's come from, things people in the job force are losing jobs left and right. AI is becoming a huge, major game changer for a lot of companies.
This is my
Um,
clone right now. I'm not even here.
Right. Like this is really happening in front of
Yeah.
our eyes. Like we thought would just be television and movies. Who even knew our generation would see that?
Crazy.
But it's
Crazy.
here, so we've got to make those adjustments.
100%. 100%.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So a big thing just to start off, like there's people I'm seeing currently, even in our university, are dealing with anxiety with their trading as of right now, just with managing themselves
Yeah.
and making decisions. Like, what do you recommend like people do, in that type of turmoil?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think number one, understanding what the anxiety is causing them to do is really important. Because anxiety typically will lead to a story that you believe, and then it'll cause you to make certain decisions. So, some people, anxiety might mean they pull out of a trade early. Some people might mean they go into a trade late because they fear missing out. Anxiety tends to make us do things a little bit out of character or off of the path that we were on before. And so my number one recommendation would be to see how the anxiety exactly is affecting you. And if you can define it, because I feel like what happens is it's easy to just say, oh, I have anxiety, and then we just leave it at that and
Right.
not figure out what kind of anxiety is it. And anxiety is a blanket statement. Like, what do you have anxiety about? Do you believe you're an anxious person? Do you have anxiety just around trading, or is it just around your spouse, or is it just around your friends, or just around your weight, or is it a transferable anxiety? And I think if people and again, I think it's out of fear of offending someone or poking the bear, one could say. But someone says, oh, I have anxiety. We just go, oh, I'm so sorry. I hope that gets better. Instead of looking at how the anxiety is affecting them and asking them the questions to help them kind of reverse engineer, see where it started, who was involved, or if it was just them, or what the situation was, and kind of help them to take that third person 30,000-foot view of what's actually going on. So yeah, the first thing I would say is, what is the anxiety causing you to do, and what's actually happening? Because anxiety is typically an emotion that you have or a feeling that you have about something that might not have happened yet that you're afraid of happening. Might have happened in the past, it might not have happened in the past, but you're typically afraid of it happening in the future, but you're
Okay.
experiencing it now. And so your future fear is affecting your current decisions in your current reality. So if you can gauge where that comes from, that'll help a lot for sure.
Now, I do want to dive in on the transferable. So when you're saying that anxiety is transferable, or things that happen in other parts and areas of your life can then transfer into your trading decisions, into your day to day, into things that you got going on throughout life, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and another word for that could also be projection, where let's say you and I are talking right now, and maybe I had an argument with a friend this morning or something that's unresolved. And then you say something that reminds me of my friend, and so I take the anger from my friend that I have towards my friend and I put it on you. So I'm taking a situation that's irrelevant to our relationship or situation, and I'm bringing that in because I haven't dealt with it myself.
Yeah,
And so I could take anxiety from a relationship and bring it into the charts for sure. Or let's say, to keep it within the same category, if I don't make this trade, I don't pay rent this month. And so I'm not looking at a chart to make a trade. I'm looking at the chart to pay my rent, which is a little bit more pressure. If you're looking at a chart to see what's happening in the market, it's going to be a lot different than like, okay, which one's going to help me pay my rent? And then if it starts to go really well, you put in more and more and more. You're like, okay, 6 months of rent, and then you lose all of it, and you're like, now I'm homeless. So it's
right.
that, yeah, it's that dynamic of understanding that you can very much bring in not just anxiety, but emotions from other situations into things like trading, like sport. I work with a lot of athletes, a lot of businesses, and you can bring those in and bring an irrelevant emotion into situations like these for sure.
Got you. So in regards to, let's say we want to solve this, right? I want to give these guys the um, most value we can give in this episode. So if I'm going through this, should I step away completely, give myself time, weeks, months to get back, in the right state? Or if I have to work through this while it's happening, what are the best ways to kind of manage avoiding these types of pitfalls with anxiety?
Yeah, great question. I would say that if you look at it more in a trajectory uh, perspective versus fixing a problem, I think it'll help the solution be more long term. Because there's never going to be, if you do this, this will happen. Because it might not. One situation, you might need to literally throw your laptop in the pond for like a week and completely step away. Another situation, you might need to step away for 5 minutes. It all depends. I think the key here is having the discernment and the emotional intelligence and the self-awareness to know what to do. So wisdom is knowing, and discernment is knowing what to do with the wisdom.
Yeah,
It's just like not knowledge isn't power. The application of knowledge is power. If I have the cure for cancer, it doesn't matter if I don't do anything with it,
right.
right? So
100%.
I would say that to add value would be to take the time to assess the way in which things happen in your life. Because trading is an arm or a branch of the trunk. It's not all of it. And if it is all of it, definitely take a step back and reevaluate your identity. Because if
Right,
trading is you everything, and you are who you are because of trading, you're very limited in what you're able to do, experience, and pursue. Because it's limited to what trading will provide. It's limited to the success that you'll have in trading. And no human being's identity is limited to a thing
right.
unless they
100%.
think it is, right? And
Yeah,
so I would say, again, kind of not to be redundant, but I would say start paying attention to how you react to things. You might need to do a month-long assessment before you figure out what's best for you. And when I say assessment, part of your trading journal should be the emotion you had before, during, and after the trade and what happened for that emotion to occur. Because you need to be able to separate. Were you mad because of the charts, or were you mad because of something else and you brought it to the charts? Because then you start to associate things that aren't associated, right? And
right.
then that's when you start to revenge trade or over leverage or whatever the case may be. And
Okay.
so, yeah, and I think again, especially with men, we're fixers. We're like, okay, here's a problem, here's a solution. Like, why can't we just do it like this? Just understandable. Uh, but I think if we started to look at these solutions more as a consistent trajectory and the ability to self-regulate, it's a way more sustainable solution versus like, oh, I have anxiety, this is what I do. It's the ability to self-regulate.
That makes perfect sense. That makes perfect
Yeah.
sense. So the next thing that I think is crucial is a certain level of discipline. I mean, like you said, going into that journaling aspect of things, do you have any tips as far as like maintaining discipline and consistency? Because that was a big thing I dealt with, especially being prior military and thinking, yeah, I have a certain level of discipline. I have a certain level of consistency and dedication. And that
Welcome to Independent Trading University at ITU. We're more than just an education platform. We're a community built to help you succeed. Trading can feel like a solo journey, but with ITU, you're never alone. Our team is here to support, guide, and push you toward mastery. Technical analysis support, so you can read the charts with precision. Fundamental support, so you understand market-moving news and economics. Psychology support, so you can develop the mindset of a successful trader. We provide the tools you need to thrive: weekly live education, 24/7 community support, and real-time trading setups from experienced coaches. Wherever you are, access the education and mentorship that will transform your trading. Join ITU today and trade with confidence.
Yeah. Well, I think it's funny because anytime we're in sort of a mandated environment, we're not really disciplined, we're just good at following orders. So true discipline is when you don't have to do anything and you do it anyway. You don't, like, if you miss a sheet in the corner of your bed in the military, like, you're getting punished for that. When they come in, if you have contraband, if you mouth off to a general, like, whatever it is, you're toasted. And so you're as disciplined as the people enforcing the discipline are.
right.
And so when you are now the enforcer of the so-said discipline, it's like, well, maybe not today, or my punishment is that I just miss out on a day, which, So I would say that figuring out what it would do and what it means, and the definition of, not the definition of discipline per se, but for example, like, what would keeping a trading journal do for you? Well, that's a rhetorical question. So someone might say, oh, well, it helps me keep track of my trades. And if that's as deep as the definition goes, they will keep track for as long as they feel like that's important. But then you have to take it a step further. Okay, well, what does keeping track of your trades allow you to do? Okay, well, it allows me to reverse engineer and get better at trading. In what way? Well, it allows me to have quantifiable data on how close I'm getting to X amount of money. Okay, and let's say you track your trades and then you start getting this amount of money. What would this amount of money do for you? Okay, well, that would allow me to buy this, or that would allow me to pay off this. And what would that do for you? So there's this hierarchy of definition and value and the emotions that are tied to that. And so if you go from, I want to keep a trade journal because it'll help me track my trades, to I want to keep a trade journal because it'll get me closer to getting my mom retired, which one holds more weight? This one, because you've gone through what it means. And so again, whether it's in the gym, if you have a goal in the gym and you're not going to the gym, it's because the goal isn't strong enough. The goal isn't, like, getting in shape isn't enough for you. So not that that's bad or good, it just means it's not enough. And some people are really inspired by just wanting to get in shape. Other people, they need a little bit more. So what would getting in shape allow you to do? Let's say you have kids and you're so out of shape you can't play soccer with them, or you can't throw the baseball with them, or whatever it is. You're not going to the gym to get in shape. You're going to the gym to play with your children, right? And which one's going to get you to the gym? Hopefully the other one, right? So it's figuring out what being disciplined in these ways means for you. What is the value that the other side of the discipline brings you into your life, into the life of the people that you love? And so reverse engineering that typically by default will help your discipline go up. And then it's also knowing what you're up, you have to know your enemy, knowing what you're up against, like whether it's with temptation or whether it's with junk food or whatever it is. If you don't know who you're fighting against, people are like, oh, well, my biggest enemy is myself. Well, how well do you know yourself? What is your kryptonite? What is your downfall? You're amazing at the gym, you're amazing at your diet till you see a bag of cookies, and then you're toasted. So for however long as you need to, you keep resisting those things, or you put those things out of your sight. And each time you say no to something that you used to say yes to, you're putting down a brick. And each brick that you lay down builds a new level of resistance you have to hop over to make the bad decision. And at some point, when you lay enough bricks, you'll turn around and go to make a decision, that you don't want to make. And there's a wall there. And then you forget what you were there for, because there's just a wall. Because you've said no so many times, it stacks up the resistance. And now you're like, I don't even want that anymore. Because I've already felt determined, experienced whatever it is, that this side is indeed better for me. And you would literally have to get a battering ram and break through your moral compass that you've created to make the wrong decision.
Makes sense. Now,
Yeah.
I like that because that's going to lead into my next question in regards to the importance of self-awareness in trading. Because guys, again, trading is a journey. There's a lot you're going to learn about yourself throughout that. But I know there's a lot of traders out there that do the thing when it comes to discipline as far as having consequences for themselves. Now, you spoke a lot about having goals more set up. What do you think the priority focus is in that? And is there really a benefit in even setting, those major consequences? Some people like, if I don't follow my rules, I've got to do 100 push-ups, or I've got to run, 2 miles and stuff like that. Or is it a balance, or just a greater foundation to just have strong goals?
I think it depends on the person. I'm not going to say one way or the other is better, because the other thing, which I've talked about before, is there's people are motivated by two different ways. There's this towards motivation, where they're more inspired by pursuing something. And there's other people are motivated by running away from something. So are you the one that chases the gold or runs away from the bear? And one could say, well, I do both, or whatever the case may be. Or of course I'm going to run faster if there's a bear behind me, duh. But it's in theory, what gets you going? Is it the thought of a dream that you can chase? Like, is it buying a house that excites you, or is it not being homeless that motivates you? Right? And so it just depends on what gets you going. Because the other thing is, if you just keep experiencing these consequences and they're not doing anything, because here's the thing, like, after a week, 100 push-ups isn't a consequence, it's an exercise, and you're like, I should do these more, I'm getting jacked, and you're like, I should fail more because I got a nice chest now.
Right.
But again, the idea there is some people will tie pain to growth, and they're like, I need, which Tony Robbins talks about that as well. There's this leverage that you need, and a lot of people there's this pain point where once you get to that point, that's the thing that'll change you, and it doesn't always work on some people. And you can mentally sort of get there, like, what's the worst possible thing that could happen, and then you experience it in your mind, and it just tears you apart, and then you're like, that's what's going to happen if you keep doing that. And for a time it might work, but again, because we're human, the longer it is since we had that revelation, the further removed we are from having that feel like a real punishment. So the other thing, a lot of the time the punishment is just the result. Like, it's enough punishment to lose $1,000 in a day because of a mistake you made. And then now you're tying another consequence in, and then what are you going to do when you get back? You're like, well, I suffered, then I got a consequence. Now I have to go back and get motivated. Does that work for
It's
you?
harder to bounce back.
If so, great. I'm not going to mess with your flow. But again, it's just becoming more self-aware on what is actually working. Waking up at 4 a.m. doesn't mean anything if it doesn't do anything for you. There's this whole millionaire, billionaire misconception of like successful people wake up early. Now, I will say the times I've woken up very early, I do like it, but there's also times when I have a more productive day when I sleep until 8 or 9 or whatever the case may be. And it's knowing what works for you. Because I know people, they'll wake up at 4:30, whatever, and their life's not that much different, right? And so again, figure out what works for you, not jumping on the bandwagon of what everybody else is doing because everybody else has a different process. And
Most
so,
definitely.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man. Good.
That kind of
And
exciting.
you're good. Goes right back into the journaling aspect of training. And a lot of people get into this niche and they think, hey, I'm going to get in, I might do a course for a month or two or whatever, and then I've got enough understanding to just now go be a trader, not understanding the aspects of you're on a real journey through life, guys. Like this isn't just an aspect of making money. This is learning about who you are. This is having that self-awareness to understand how you operate because ultimately you're your own business, right? So there's certain ways you have to understand thyself to know, those quirks about yourself that cause you to do and make certain decisions and move a certain way amongst certain circumstances. If you don't
Yep.
go through those circumstances, how can you, take those next steps?
Yep.
So when it comes to that self-awareness aspect, um, what are some, important key areas people should pay attention to in the journaling, like we talked about, knowing our emotions? Are there any other aspects that we should?
I have something truly special to share with you today. Have you ever dreamt of financial success and didn't know where to start? Look no further than Independent Trading University. At ITU, we offer a diverse range of courses, from Forex basics to advanced technicals, along with comprehensive fundamentals education, mindset coaching, health and wellness guidance, plus stock and crypto trading strategies. That's right. Everything you need for a well-rounded trading journey, all in one place. Our mission is clear, helping you make extra income by learning the art of trading. Join us today at solo.to/independent-trading-guru and take advantage of an exclusive pre-sale. $50 for undergrad students looking to trade part-time, and just $75 for career traders ready to dive in full-time. With ITU, you'll master the art of making consistent income from the markets. This is your chance to start building a brighter financial future. Are you ready to transform your trading game and take control of your financial future? Look no further than Independent Trading University, your one-stop destination for comprehensive Forex education and so much more. Whether you're a beginner or an experienced trader, we've got you covered. We believe in a holistic approach to trading success. Gain a deep understanding of market fundamentals, master your mindset, and prioritize your well-being. We're here to support your growth every step of the way. And let's not forget about stocks and crypto. Discover exciting opportunities and learn strategies to make extra income. The best part? We're running a limited time pre-sale for new students. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to gain the skills, knowledge, and support you need to succeed. Ready to make connections with your financial future? Visit our website at solo.to/independent-trading-guru to secure your spot in our pre-sale today. Independent Trading University, where trading dreams become reality. It's time to start your journey to financial freedom. Don't wait. Visit solo.to/independent-trading-guru now.
Yeah. Whether journaling or not, pay attention to what gives you really big emotions. Like pay really close attention to the things that get you super excited, super angry, super fearful. What to use the word trigger, which I feel like that's been thrown around so much. I mean, there are actually, like, a trigger is a thing, but I'm so triggered. Like, people just kind of say that as a throwaway. But yeah, pay attention to the things that make you feel heavy, deeply. Not heavy, not in a bad way, but just immediate, like immediate anxiety or immediate excitement. And then is it something that's happening, or is it something that might happen? What's the time, like what is the tense in which you're experiencing those things? Is it past, present, or future? What is the emotion being caused? What happens when these emotions come? What is your default response? And it could be as simple as starting to pay attention. When you're in the car and someone cuts you off, do you immediately yell at them? Or you're just kind of like, you know, are you very associated in certain situations that maybe you're like, I would like to be a little bit less associated with that. What are some behaviors that are kind of inconvenient to you? You're like, man, if I just stop doing that a little bit more, it'd be really helpful. And then you go, okay, let's stop there. This is that behavior that I want to change. So what typically leads up to that? Or is there an emotion that causes you to do that? Or is it a person? And when I do this, it's because the person, you might associate the person with a certain emotion that then brings on the thing. And it sounds like I'm kind of rattling this off, but what am I doing? I'm just asking questions. And so it's well, what questions do I ask? What questions do you think you should ask? Like it's very, you want to be as autonomous as possible. And what I mean by that is you don't want, a true identity is non-reliant. It means that it can exist and fully function without anything, but it can function within everything without anything, if that makes sense. So my identity is not my job, but my full identity can function within my job. My identity is not in a relationship if I'm in one, but my identity can function within that relationship. It is non-reliant on that. And so, and as I said to Zay earlier, my allergies are super bad. So if it sounds like I'm sniffling or like talking through a straw, that's why. But does that kind of make sense? So it's like the more questions you can ask and the deeper questions you can ask, the more you'll start to, because it's also to figure out how you process information. Half the reason I ask the questions in these sessions is to help people figure out how they think. Most people don't know how they think.
Right.
They know that they think, they know why they think, but they don't know how they think. And it's not what are you seeing, it's what lens are you seeing with? Because what you see might not be what you see. You're going to see whatever this lens is allowing you to see, you know?
Right.
And so, yeah.
And I'm sure it takes a certain level of honesty. I know people that, they look in the mirror all the time, but how deep are we going, right? Are we really addressing those concerns that we box away, we put in the closet, the things we hide? Like those things have to be addressed, and a lot of people aren't comfortable with that, but
Yeah.
we all know, I mean, as far as the success blueprint goes, there is a certain level of truth that you're going to want to have with yourself as you go through your trading experience, dealing with yourself and making these decisions. Like I've had to do that myself. There are things about my past that I had to, we've talked about in our sessions. I was like, dude, I've got to address this. Like I've got to take some time to really be honest with me and know what I need to do next to make some adjustments, or else it's going to affect, my day to day.
Yeah. Yeah. And you will you'll get as deep as you want. So if the people stop when it gets uncomfortable, that's where you should actually start. It's not a matter of if you're able, it's if you're willing. Everyone's able, but not everybody's willing.
True.
So
Very true. You mentioned that the 4 a.m., right? We hear all the There's even a guy going around that's everybody's making fun of for having his
Ashton
routine
Hall.
shown. Is that his name? Yeah. Hilarious.
It's funny because I started following him like 8 months ago or something, and I mean he's just absolutely jacked out of his mind. Like it's insane. And I just always noticed these little things that I thought were kind of funny, like because that wasn't the first time that video has come up. It's just the first time it went viral. So he had this one, and like the glass drops is 4 in the morning, and then you see some hand come and clean up. I'm like, who's up at 4:30 with him? And then like hands him his T-shirt and his this and that, and he's a genius because of course people are going to talk about it. Like it was a total marketing move. So it's just, and then he was like in the air for 4 minutes. Like he knows exactly what he's doing, dude. Like because when I started following him, he had 2 million followers. And then he got like 4 million in a couple months, which is just crazy in itself. So he got an extra 2 million. From that viral from when it went viral, he's at 12 million now.
What a jump.
So he got 8 million followers in a month from that one video going viral, because now it's on everyone. Everyone's reposting it. Everyone's doing it themselves. Every page is posting it. So this is a total tangent, but it's just hilarious because in terms of marketing, it's genius because people are like hate commenting, making it blow up even more. And he knows that. And he's an online coach. So he just got 8 million more eyes on this program.
Yeah, 16 million, right?
Oh, it's crazy. Crazy.
And it's great to see, one, how well that worked out, because it doesn't matter if it's negative or positive. So
Yeah.
no matter what you do, right, it still can be beneficial for you. But as far as a routine is concerned, right, how is it important is it as a trader to develop a core routine? Because, I mean, we've got people who may be in school, working, maybe 2, 3 jobs at this point, and trying to find a way to marry this into that, day-to-day life.
Yeah. So is the question, how important is routine? Or
Yeah, basically, like how important is to develop a routine around that, like finding time for this skill development.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure you would agree it's very important. And I think you have to know, what session do you like trading the most? Like, do you want London session? Do you like the New York? Do you like Tokyo? Like, what is the session with your pairs that you like the most? And then based off of that, it doesn't matter how much people are making on New York if you like London. It doesn't matter how much money people make on London if you like New York. You got to figure out what session works for me that I can master, that I can schedule my life around to make it more conducive to what it is I want to do. And some people might look at that and go, oh, so you're just saying to compromise. And it's, do whatever you want. Like, it's not, I'm not telling you to do anything other than you're gonna like stuff more than other stuff. That's just the way it is. Some people would rather stay up till 2. Some people would rather wake up at 3 or 4. It doesn't matter. But you figure out, this is the time when I trade because this is when I go to work. And after I go to work, this is when I work out, this is when I eat, this is when I whatever. Because what will happen a lot of the time as well with your time is you'll schedule a day and you figure out there's like 4 hours that you can't really account for. You're like, what did I do? Was I on social media? Did I just do nothing? Like, what happened there? And so I think having discipline and having a schedule also allows you to kind of take control of your time. And then if there's a day, you're like, yeah, there was 4 hours of absent time, then you can figure out, okay, what can I do with those 4 hours? And how can I structure out those 4 hours that I'm functioning within them rather than them just kind of happening and me existing in them?
Hey guys, that's going to come with certain sacrifices. Like when I started learning, I was in the military. I was also taking night classes from like 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. So I had to make the sacrifice of sleep, and getting up during those London hours when sessions were being held for me to learn, or sleeping first and then getting up really early pre-New York and, prepping that, 2 hours before I went into work. So there is a certain level of, if you grit, like per se grit, if you want to really get this done, if you really want to put yourself in position, put the time in, right? They say it's 10,000 hours to master a skill. Fit those hours and break it down into small, biteable pieces, over time. So that could be really beneficial for you guys.
Yeah.
Right now, we're dealing with a lot of downturn in the marketplace, right? So how can we keep a positive outlook, a positive, mindset when facing these downturns and uncertainty on what's going to happen next? Setting up, our families are awry with things. How do we manage ourselves through that?
Yeah, yeah, there's definitely a lot going on. Well, number one, I would say we don't want to confuse a positive mindset with like ignorance. So we're not ignoring that things aren't changing. The other thing is you can make money off a dip, can't you? Like you can make money both ways.
Yeah,
So
we
it's,
definitely can. And some
yeah,
people may not even be aware of that.
so rather than, oh, it's going down, what do we do? It's going down, what do we do? Same thing, different mentality. And so staying positive doesn't mean happy-go-lucky, everything's great, Because if your ship is sinking, you don't just go, oh no, the ship is sinking, blah. You're like, all right, well now is it a bucket solution or is it a plug solution? Do we even have what we need to stop it? Do we have so it's thinking about all the things you can do regardless of what what hasn't changed because of what's changing? Like, what are the things that have stayed consistent regardless of the market turning? Okay, these things. So we can immediately eliminate these from any of our conversations. Because a lot of people bring in things they couldn't control already, and then it just makes it more emotional, right? So whatever happens in the market, what are things we know we can't control already, other than the market itself? But like you bring it, there's these factors that are already set aside as things you can't control. And when big things happen, people tend to bring in the things they can't control because their emotion makes them wish they could. And then they get angry and afraid, and they're like, well, we can't do anything about this. It's like, well, we couldn't do anything about that already. So that doesn't even matter, right? So the positive mindset is just looking at it objectively, not, not going, oh, I wish this would happen, or if this happens, or I hope what is happening? It's very simple. What is actually happening? What can we do about it? Our skills stay the same regardless, so it's not like our skill set has changed all of a sudden. This might help us, our skill set, get better. Nobody's ever really had to trade in a situation like this before.
Right.
So we're kind of pioneers, you could say. It's like, all right, well, who's going to figure it out first? Who's going to figure out how to trade something this crazy? It's like riding when you're surfing, you go to Nazar, which is in Portugal. It's like where the 100-foot wave is. No one's ever done it before. It's like, all right, who's going to do it? So because someone is already doing it. It's the same thing when Uber came out and when Lyft came out and when all Amazon and all these things. It's like someone's gonna do it. So who's it gonna be?
Yeah. Oh, most definitely, most definitely. And that's really good to know, guys, because there's going to be more changes. Things are going to continue to adjust for us over the years to come. Just be adaptable, guys. Be adaptable. That's really all I have for you today. I appreciate your time. Thanks for coming through. Your insights are always great. If you want to tap in with Daniel, you can reach him on Instagram at Daniel Schuler. His mindset package will be out on the ITU page, so please definitely check that out. It's worth every penny, guys. He's here to help you guys throughout the way. For our students, please stay tapped in. It was a great